Hi, this is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
Host Tyler, and welcome to Krypton Report, a podcast dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl. We're going to look at the Supergirl TV series as well as the Krypton TV series, anything that has to do with the characters in their world. Comics, movies, TV shows. We will talk about everything and anything. We are part of the Southgate Media Group podcasting network. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review to help us get better. You can find me personal at JTYPatrick on Twitter and everything else. You can buy a Krypton Report t-shirt at tpublic.com. Check it out. They have all sizes, colors, styles of shirts. Just go to tpublic.com and search Krypton Report, and you'll see our logo. And every time you buy a shirt, it helps support other podcasts from southgatemedia.com. Thank you. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Krypton Report. I am your host, Tyler, and beaming in from the multiverse is that Superman, Defender of Justice from the other side, on Earth 2, that is, Mr. James Cole. Hey, James.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, for what started out as being a time period where we're like, we're going to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to go over.
Yeah, there's been a lot of news recently.
So
little bits here and there.
Yeah, like little tidbits and stuff. So we're just going to kind of jump in. First of all, I want to throw out that we've decided that we're going to do weekly reviews after 1,000. Because I thought about doing them sooner, but to catch up, to give people kind of an idea. We might do them on YouTube. I haven't decided yet, but we're going to start doing weekly reviews after issue 1,000. So there you go. Something I've been wanting to do for a while. I've just been lazy about because, things happen. And that's where we're going to go. Something else. I got thinking about this. James, I'll take your advice. What's one, we got Metropolis coming up. We have Krypton coming up. So I got thinking, what other Superman show could we do that has nothing to do with Superman? And I got it. Lifetime Television presents The Kents. See the story of young Jonathan as a farmer in a small town as he tries to court Martha. And then learn to the king. Martha
Clark from the big city, studying to get her law degree, correct?
This small town farm boy falls madly in love with a girl from the big city, and then rushes her away to rural Kansas, and teaches her home values as he struggles with his family's farm. Witness the rise of Jonathan Kent in The Kents.
Right? That's the new This Is Us right there.
So that's my pitch for a show. Yeah, I just thought that was fun. Okay.
I'd give it a shot.
Supergirl news. We got that and my link isn't loading, but that's cool. Doesn't always have to. An actress is coming on board to play a doctor. I don't recognize the name from the comics, so I'm not sure, but I guess she's going to have some sort of an arc in the latter half of Supergirl. My link's not popping up here, so I'm not sure the actress's name.
Angela Zhao.
Okay, see, that's why I got Supergirl.
I think that's how you might pronounce her last name. The fact that she's a doctor, some sort of surgeon, it kind of makes you wonder if if she's going to be around for Samantha's blackouts.
See, that is a very, very good idea. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because I don't know the actress from anything, and then just the very short blip that they give of who she's going to be. That's the only thing that made sense to me. A professional.
It makes sense just because that's kind of where they're going, especially with the end of where Miss Luthor talks about, she knows what's going on with Sam and she's going to help her. So, yeah, makes sense. I'm game. All right. So, moving on. We've learned that there is Superman cookie dough ice cream.
Which I can't wait to try.
I know, I haven't been to the grocery store since. And I'm kind of mad.
Me either. Krypton cookie dough.
And I'm like, does it explode in your mouth? Like Pop Rocks are in it? Like, because that would be pretty cool.
Blow up in your mouth like Krypton exploded.
Exactly. Like, oh, man, should have ate that milk and ice cream.
Yep.
But
now, from what we see, they did come out with the Superman one, which is what we're interested in. But they do have Batman, Dark Knight, Brownie, something or other.
Yeah, I don't care about.
And Golden Lasso, Wonder Woman.
That could be good, but you know what? I'm like very tempted after we're done here to like sneak out once the kids go to sleep and hit the grocery stores.
Right, I'll have to see if my wife's still out when we're done. See if she says, hey, you got to stop by the store.
Why? I need ice cream. I need Superman ice cream.
Superman.
See, my thing is that's what I want, and if like I'd be like, oh, they don't have it. My wife's like, we'll get something else, and I'm like, no.
Exactly right. Like, this is what I am craving. I don't care if it's cookie dough, and if I can get something cookie dough otherwise. I love cookie dough ice cream, but I need Superman cookie dough.
Exactly. So we got that to look forward to. Moving on, news-wise, we have one, that's right, people, one still image shot from the upcoming DVD or Blu-ray release of the Death of Superman animated film. And looking at the one image that we have, like James pointed out to me, it looks like it's in the current continuity of the animated films.
Which would be really, I mean, to me, I'm excited about that because, Superman hasn't had a standalone film in the animated series, in the animated features since before Justice League War, since they actually started making the continuity with Superman Unbound.
Yeah, I mean, and what's weird is they had a pattern going where they would do like continuity film, then like adaptation film. And they kind of switched it all this year, with the first film being Gotham by Gaslight, which is our adaptation. And then we're going to get Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, which is in the animated continuity. So, I mean, it would be cool if it's
interesting. This is an amalgamation of both from the way it looks. That one image looks straight like Superman from the continuity, but then it's supposed to be a more closely related adaptation to the story, The Death of Superman.
And I mean, and let's not forget they're doing it as a two-parter, because then next year, I guess in the beginning of the year, we'll get the second part, which would be the reign of the Superman, however they do it, which I think would be pretty cool to see. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. I think it's interesting. I wonder if when they bring him back, if like after he comes back, if they'll do the black costume and everything, and then he'll have a costume. I wonder what they'll do, because like the current continuity is more New 52 based, because the animated continuity kind of started with the end of Flashpoint.
Yeah, Flashpoint Paradox basically birthed the new continuity, the Justice League War, where it all began.
And that was very New 52 influence and everything. So, and I mean, and then they've done adaptations in continuity, like they did with the Judas Contract. That was an adaptation, and then they kind of did
I mean, even the Batman ones were adaptations.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin was, the son of Batman, the introduction of Damian Wayne. They even had the Man-Bat serum for the ninjas. So there was a adaptation, at least drawn heavily from the stories introducing Damian Wayne. And then Batman versus Robin, that was a adaptation of the Court of Owls from the beginning of the New 52 Scott Snyder run.
I will have to say, I like that
adapting
one.
that to.
I like that one, but it hurts me because there's so much to the Court of Owls that I really like that wasn't included, and a lot of it has to do with Grayson. Because I think if you read Batman: The Court of Owls, and if you buy the trades, you're going to buy Batman trades 1 and 2, but you would not get the full Court of Owls story unless you buy Nightwing 1 and 2. One sets it up, and 2 pays it off.
Does it?
So you to enjoy the Court of Owls, you really need to read all 4 of those volumes.
Right. Well, yeah, those will definitely be on the list. Currently, with the few things that I keep up on currently, I've gone back and I purchased the first 2 volumes of Aquaman from the New 52.
Which were awesome. I think I really liked, let's see. So I read all of them, and I'm trying to remember. I always read Aquaman in the trades, and I really liked it while Jeff Johns was writing it. And I think I really liked it all the way up till they did that DCU, where they tried to reboot slightly in the middle. That's when Aquaman's costume changed. That's when we got Commissioner Gordon, Batman suit.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
And we got the depowered Superman with the haircut and the T-shirt. And that's when Wonder Woman officially shifted over to being the God of War. That whole was the mucky middle-ness that I think didn't really pay off. That's when we got the Batgirl of Burnside, which was a really weird transition from how Batgirl started in the New 52. But this isn't a Batgirl podcast. But we're going to use that to segue into our next little tidbit.
Speaking of Aquaman.
Actually, we're going to speak of Batgirl, then Aquaman.
Oh, Batgirl, then Aquaman. Sounds good.
We're going to go sad news to high news. But we're not going to linger too long with it. So, Joss Whedon, I guess, officially dropped out of directing Batgirl. Kind of no surprise after the backlash of Justice League. But you know what? I would have liked to have seen a Joss Whedon Batgirl film. But we've never had any more information other than that. And I still feel like a lot of the Justice League issues may not be Whedon's fault. And I say that because I know he's a competent filmmaker. And I feel like it was kind of hey, we're going to cut these scenes out. I need you to film or make something that kind of patches this together to work.
Right. Yeah. I think he was given, Snyder's product, and then the studio was like, this is what we don't want. This is what we want. You need to film this, and you need to get it in there and put it together. He basically was brought in to do what the studio wanted to do. Is probably what I feel.
And that's really how I feel, because once Zach was, quoted as leaving, it seemed like Snyder and Whedon both went dark, media-wise. You never heard from Whedon. He never appeared on anything. He never, interviewed. He never really talked about it. So in some ways, I feel like he wanted to distance himself from it because he was unhappy with I think maybe he came in to have a vision to help it or to do some things with Snyder or whatever. And then the studio just took more control over it. And even he was like, no, I don't need this. And, but now we're going to say,
well, he is very competent, he's made a lot of very popular things over the years, a lot of fans. And honestly, he's almost, he's polarized. He's almost halfway as polarizing as Zack Snyder is. There are fans who would follow him to the grave, and there are other people who can't stand his work. But, since Justice League came out, he's been thrown to the wolves, and he's been quiet, but he's been thrown to the wolves. Everything all over about Justice League is blaming Joss for,
And
what happened.
And I've said it before. I don't blame him. I blame the studio. And I'll continue to say that because you don't tell someone, oh, we approve this script because a script is a certain size and it's estimated that roughly 1 page of script equals about 1 minute of film. It's a way to kind of judge things. And you don't look at a script knowing, well, this thick of a script and this is going to be almost a 3-hour movie that we basically took 2 movies into one, and then you make it, you film for it, you pace for it, you direct for it, and then they say 2-hour mandate. You just lost about a third of your film now. So, I mean, that's like when you do the best that you can with what you have is what I kind of feel like Justice League became. But that'll be a discussion when you and I do our Justice League commentary. But now, back to what you were saying, is I guess there was a test screening of Aquaman, and it's coming out being praised.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff from it's very positive to I've seen somewhere that it is a fantastic film.
And
I heard some. Me too.
I love every movie he's made. He's like the only director that can like seriously creep me out. Because like, there's a difference between being scared to the core and then like jump scares. And one has a way of like seriously getting to my core and creeping me out to where stuff stays with me.
Oh yeah. Well, there's some things that I heard of from the screening that with Orm, with Black Manta. The fact that the trench might even be in the movie. So, there comes some, horror creatures, some serious.
And I will say this right now, that whenever the Aquaman trailer drops, we're going to discuss it. Yes, this is a Superman podcast, but we also love everything DC. And I like Aquaman. So, we're going to talk about Aquaman. So I'm excited for it, I had originally hoped that at one point I thought James Wan would have been a great director to do a Batman film, to bring like that kind of Arkham horror creepiness into a film. But Aquaman is exciting. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the deep that you don't know about. Aquaman's mythology is, and any creature that's been mythological in the seas, no matter how scary, has been a part of Aquaman's history.
So shifting gears, we're going to talk about, they released a banner. That's the 6th Brian Michael Bendis Man of Steel art covers. Now, are you able to pull that up, or I need to send you a picture?
I do have it in front of me.
Okay. So looking at it, the first thing I notice is in the first one, which I kind of figured how they're broken up here, it looks like current time and because if you look at Superman's costume, he's got the cuffs and the trunks are back. And I just don't get it, man. Like, Batman ditched the trunks in the films. Everyone was cool with it after Michael Keaton. He, ditched them in the comics for the New 52. No one really freaked over it. But Superman ditches the trunks. Everybody's pissed. And you know what? I'm not. Because it's outdated. There's a lot of people that make fun of it and joke about it. I mean, visually, aesthetically, I get it because it breaks up the blue. But honestly...
it breaks up the blue, but it was actually never really a big deal for me. I prefer them without it. Same thing with most of the other heroes, say Batman. An entirely gray suit from shoulders to boots. Why is the blue so different? Why does the Why does he have to wear his underwear on the outside?
You know, I mean, it's just, but we'll get to that as we read the books because.
Well, these 6 issues are from Bendis's Man of Steel series that's coming out.
Which is, are they going to be like a 6 issue like arc that's going to like, from where we go from 1000 or like, cause he's taking over Action Comics and Superman after 1000. So it's just kind of like, is this a side story or is this part of the continuity? I guess those clues might be inside 1000. But so the next one I love because it's the Kents revealing to Clark, you know, his ship. We see the cape. And then
his baby blanket.
Yeah. And see, I've always wanted in a Superman film to have, this has been in the comics, but I've always wanted Jor-El to be wearing the red cape. And then when he puts Clark in, he takes it off and wraps his son in it. Like, I've always wanted that in live action. Because, like, it ties back to, like, why he wears the cape is because his people wore it. And it makes it even more special that it was his father's. So if you want to do a storyline where Martha creates the suit based on, like, the cape, and then, like, the suit can get tore up, but the cape can't because the cape Kryptonian material, that's fine. But I always just thought that would be a great visual on film. Like, I've never been completely happy with a live-action Jor-El either. That's a whole nother debate. I thought Russell Crowe's the closest, but other than that, like, I've never liked a live-action Jor-El.
Yeah. I mean, Terrence Stamp did a great job as an ethereal voice for Jor-El, but you know, that's after he's been dead. That's not the person, you know. And then he was live action by Julian Sands. So
it makes no sense. And okay, when you read a Superman comic, Clark's supposed to look like his dad.
Yeah. I don't see Tom Welling coming from Helen Slater and Julian Sands.
For real, seriously. You know who I wanted to be Jor-El? And before they announced it for Man of Steel, I was watching what do you call it? Sucker Punch. And he was in the movie, a small role, and that's John Hamm. I just thought John Hamm has a similar Superman-esque look where he could be Superman. And I just thought, you know, like, he knows Snyder. Kind of like, you know, you had Jeffrey Dean Morgan in Watchmen, and then he ended up being Thomas Wayne. I had hoped that maybe, but no, they got Russell Crowe, and I get it. Russell Crowe's a bigger name, and he did a good job, but he's still not Jor-El. But so this next cover shows what looks like a parademon looking Thanos Doomsday looking thing as Krypton blows up and the ship escapes. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
And he's got like Krypton in his hand, like he's crushing it.
So yeah, I'm wondering that's gonna be like the villain, kind of like. Did you ever read Scott Snyder, Jim Lee's Superman Unchained? Was it like it was like part of the New 52, but at the same time, kind of a side story?
Right. Yeah, I have that.
I'm wondering if this is kind of what we're looking at with this. And then we get Clark, basically, like, we jump to Clark revealing himself to Lois. And it's Lois kissing Clark, and he's got his shirt open. She sees the S. Then we cut to the death of Superman. We have the cape tattered and Superman in the background, Lois. And then it cuts the last one, which is Supergirl and Superman fighting, I guess, which is the villain from the other one. He's got a big axe.
Yeah, it looks similar. You know, Bendis said something about them there being with his Man of Steel, there being some kind of villain that stretches back to Krypton, something new, something that hasn't been done before.
And that's cool. I'm fine with. So we're gonna give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the Rogues Gallery can always grow. Make compelling villains. Not all villains that were created back in the day have really survived or are mainstays in some of these characters' Rogues Galleries. But
I mean,
the greatest
example was we talked about already was the Court of Owls was created in 2011 and has become already one of Batman's most popular new villains.
Mm-hmm. So it's possible, absolutely, that a worthwhile new rogue is going to be created with this.
I hope so.
It's been a while since Superman's had a new rogue introduced.
That's actually been good.
I think Doomsday might have been the last main one.
Maybe. Trying to think here. Alright, let's pull up here. Now we're going to go to, they released the Action 1000 variant covers, which is supposed to be 8 covers, each one representing one of the decades of Superman, each by a different artist. Now, last time I checked, the cover for the 1980s one had yet to be revealed and was not part of this. So we'll just have to talk about everything other than the 1980s.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it either.
So do you have the covers pulled up?
I do.
All right. So the first one I like. This is the 40s Superman.
1930s. Yes, 1930s is the start.
Okay. Right. Thanks. And I like it. It's like he's getting shot. He's like knocking down columns, it looks like. But I'm also kind of like interested that it's not more of a representation of like his original costume from Action Comics #1.
Mm-hmm.
It looks more classic, traditional. I love the artwork though. And the 1930s is by Steve Rudd.
It just looks more like Superman, like some kind of cult, just some kind of...
Yeah, he's breaking up a cult. Yeah, perfect example. The next one, done by Michael Cho, and it's for the 40s. And it's Superman, looks like he's jumping, and he's getting shot by a tank. And it kind of reminds me a little bit more of the Darwin Cook Justice League New Frontier Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it.
The suit looks a little looser. It looks kind of like it, it would be a different style. It's definitely World War II. Smash the Axis. Buy war bonds and stamps.
I think it definitely reflects to me more of that era, that style, and even with the top little Superman up in the top corner, breaking the change with more of the old style S. And then,
more of a triangle almost.
And the next one is, Superman in the 50s, which is, it's cool. I mean, I don't know, like, it's just him. It's Dave Gibbons, so it's, the man held responsible for creating Watchmen. The art's great, but he's getting shot by these little Martians.
Wasn't the 50s when comics started to go campy for the comics, the comics code?
Yeah, you have in the 50s and 60s where, and I mean, everything was about, space and all that and sci-fi. And so, I mean, it's cool. But I actually really like the next one, the 1960s, because I like the fact that it looks like a cover from the 60s and you have all these mini little blocks around. that kind of tell some of the stuff that happens in the 60s. Like, we see some of the super family, like the chimp. We see the giant key for the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we see Brainiac 5, maybe, with Luthor, or just Brainiac at the Daily Planet. We see Bizarro.
I think that was an early design for Brainiac, like the pink shirt and the green skin with almost the red the circles around the head, as opposed to like ports as they are now.
Yeah.
Almost looks like the Bottle City of Kandor is on that cover as well.
Exactly. We have Supergirl several times. We have her marrying Mr. Mxyzptlk. We have Superman and Lois as mermaids. We see what's like Jor-El. We have Bizarro and Mrs. Bizarro.
Yeah, and even this Bizarro Earth, the square Earth.
And then we have Crypto. So, I mean, this, to me, is like the comic, like, they should all been something like this, where it really represents the era. Like, this is like a snapshot of Superman in the 60s.
Yeah.
And it's done by, if I'm not mistaken, Michael Allred.
Mm-hmm.
Great job.
Yes.
The Superman in the 70s is done by Jim Sorenko. He's a great artist, classic. Odd that it's just Superman pretty much wrapped in the American flag.
Yeah, he's kind of flying the American flag. I mean, honestly, the kind of look of the character, the Daily Planet, the sky. I mean, it kind of just is a somewhat resemblance of Christopher Reeve. Not quite Secret Origin like resemblance, but
and that's almost what I think you would have had here. Would have been that Secret Origin looks like he just jumped on the page.
Yeah. But I think that's what this is kind of representing, the 70s in the comics, and then also that was when Superman went big screen.
And then we have to skip the 80s because it's not here. And we get the 90s, which I think the 90s is cool. It's, Superman, it's Clark transforming to Superman, but Lois is helping pull. It's Dan Jurgens and Kevin Nolan. And Lois is helping pull to open the shirt. But what I think's odd, there's like bullet holes and stuff behind him. But what I think's odd is when I think of like 90s Lois, I think more of where they made her like a redhead for some reason. I have no idea why. Like, I'd have to go search. I think that goes back to the John Byrne reboot or something. But she's not a redhead, and there's nothing that alludes to like the death of Superman, Like that was a big event in the 90s. And then him and Lois married. So I'm kind of
that's.
I'm really kind of disappointed, And then we get the last one of like the decades, which I guess makes sense because I guess the regular is the 2010s, but we get the 2000s, which is Liber Hemo, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
And
that is a spectacular piece of art.
It just, like, if I have to just kind of pick like one of them as my favorite, like as a piece of art, it's the 2000s, but as a cover for what's going on, it's the 60s.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, this piece of art, I mean, it looks like you could be looking up and he's right there in front of you.
I mean, that's just pretty much how I feel towards it. I think out of these variant covers, the best one is the 60s because it really sums up Superman of the 60s. I'm kind of disappointed by some of the others, but art's always a personal choice,
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So that takes care of a lot of things. And now the next thing we're going to kind of do something we've been wanting to do for, I don't know, ever. Because we're going to look at... Oh, wait.
5 years.
Wait, hold on. One more thing. Oh, my bad. We got our first look at the main villain for Krypton and the trailer, and it's Brainiac. And does it look awesome?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brainiac looks great.
I mean,
green skin,
he looks
full solid black eyes.
He looks like Brainiac from the page. I mean, no offense, I thought the interpretation of like a liquid metal Brainiac was cool on Smallville. I have not been really happy with any representation of Indigo or Brainiac on Supergirl. I thought they both kind of looked cheesy.
Right? You've seen cosplayers do better.
Yeah, like, and I get that it's Brainiac 5, but his wig looks horrible.
Yeah, it definitely looks like something like a prosthetic up on the front of his forehead and wrap around his head with a wig.
And Indigo looks like a really bad Mystique cosplay.
Right.
But man, this Brainiac just looks like it's gonna like walk in and beat the crap out of you. Like the plugs in his head, like he looks like he's some sort of weird biomechanical. And it's just a headshot and chest. And I mean, in the trailer, we hear his voice, which is deep and scary. We see his skull ship. And I like... So I started watching the other night. Solomon and I were watching the Superman animated series. And, you know, in that, Brainiac is on Krypton and helps, you know, Krypton be destroyed. But I like the idea that it's outside of Krypton. He's like a space villain that threatens everyone. Because I always hate when Superman's villains originate or come from Krypton. I like when they're otherworldly. And because he's on Earth, it gives Earth a standing chance. Right.
Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, Brainiac, in different iterations, you know, he's come from Krypton, but he's, you know, from a different planet that knowledge and science is important. But he even went far beyond that, having his body adapted to a lot of machinery. And in the trailer, you know, like you said, they showed his ship, but it also looked like they showed like him, and he's like wrapped up in some sort of, you know, material that his ship is made from, and it kind of resembles the shot of Brainiac all wrapped up looking at Superman off the cover of that Jeff Johns Superman Brainiac story.
Which is amazing. And even, I mean, in the trailer, there's, I think there's two different versions, because one has cut scenes with Jeff Johns and I'm drawing a blank.
David Goyer.
Yeah, David Goyer, that guy who directed Blade 3.
Yes. But he did write Man of Steel.
Yeah, but you know what? We're going to watch Man of Steel. There's some things in it that I think could have been better. And then there's some things that I guess that were set up in Man of Steel to pay off in Justice League that didn't happen. So I don't.
You know what, though? Actually, just quick little thing, you know, you know how Christopher Nolan just did his Dark Knight trilogy before that, and he had a lot of influence on Man of Steel. And people were questioning, like, if he would have gone full in and started launched the DC universe, say with Man of Steel. And I mean, I loved it that Zack Snyder's one of my favorite directors. So, you know, I really love Man of Steel, but, Chris Nolan definitely has had his feet in science fiction films, you know, since his debut. I mean, is it Memento, Interstellar, Inception? You know, he's had a lot of sci-fi interests, and the way that Man of Steel came across as much of a sci-fi film as a superhero film. You know, I think he could have. Chris Nolan could have definitely done an interesting take on Superman.
You know, I think so too, but I think it's kind of hard in some ways to tell a Superman and Batman. And I know that Snyder, I think, did a good job with both of them, but I feel like in some way with BVS, he wanted to tell more of a Batman story than a Superman story. And that's a conversation for more later. But I wish we would have another Superman film before BVS, because I felt like BVS was very Batman-sided. Let's see. But Nolan produced the first one, and he's been attached as a producer for other ones. But it always goes back to the fact that Man of Steel was not originally intended to launch the DC cinematic universe. It was meant to be a standalone film. And then they decided to use it to start it in post-production. Because I always said, like, how much better would Man of Steel have been if they'd went in with a clear vision of starting it? Because Colonel Hardy, how much better would it have been if he was, I don't know, say, Hank Henshaw?
Right.
Or even Steve Trevor? Thinking, like, really far ahead. So, I think Hank Henshaw would have been great, because I like Christopher Maloney, and that could have been something that was brought in later. But anyways, let's get to the fun part.
The reason we're here today.
Yeah, after everything else, the reason that we're here today is hold on, it's loading. We represent the lollipop. The Superman 75 cartoon. We're going to review it because this podcast wasn't around when the 75th anniversary happened, and it's a great snapshot in the history of Superman. It's only 2 minutes and 12 seconds, or 2:14, and it was released the 75-year anniversary, which was the same year that Man of Steel came out. And since this year's the 80th anniversary, it's good to look at this early, so that when we get whatever comes out of Comic-Con or around that time of the 80th anniversary, we've already looked at the past. So, are you able to watch this with me? Do you want to watch at the same time?
Sure. I have it ready to play.
All right. Where are you at, a black screen, or are you seeing anything?
Black screen.
All right.
0.
All right. I'm all at zeros. I have my sound turned off though, because I can't remember how it always works with sound bites and copyright.
Yeah.
So
kind of makes me want to play it loud though, so they can hear the John Williams and Hans Zimmer. Anyways,
I have this isolated as an audio track, and I know exactly where in this it switches, but it beautifully goes from the John Williams score into the Hans Zimmer score. And
it does.
And I like some of the things that Danny Elfman did with the Justice League music, but I think he could have done better. I think if he could have just analyzed more of what came before and incorporated what's already been done in this universe, he could do it, because this proves right here that you can blend the two things together. Enough said with that. Are you ready? We're going to press play. Are you ready?
Yes.
And play. We're off a second or so. Oh well. So what we're seeing is a pull-out shot of the Action 1 comic, and then it comes to life. And we have Superman running towards us, crowd cheering, and not to mention
leaping a tall building in a single bound.
And then it goes like into like those, and then like it
Fleischer cartoons.
Exactly. And
when he starts to fly.
And then we get a flying scene into the George Reeve flying. landing on the planet and the Jimmy Olsen. I'm still always amazed by this because we're jumping decades. There's Brainiac and Kandor, Bizarro. Like, we're jumping decades, but it's so beautifully smooth and telling a story. Supergirl, Crypto, the Super Chimp, Mr. Mixapitalik. We're on Smallville. The 60s with Andy Warhol, the Super Friends, into like the classic Neil Adams cover, then him fighting Muhammad Ali. Then there's Chris flying, doing the fly, smile, wink, cheap video game. And then we're in the 90s.
Right into, 90s Doomsday.
And then the Reign of the
Superman. The Death of Superman cover.
And right here, the black suit to the blue and red is the Hans Zimmer. It's the animated series. And then we just kind of get a Kingdom Come and a Smallville Tower, which kind of depressed me. And then we get the New 52 suit fighting Darkseid. And then
which is pretty epic.
And then he shoots him and he falls into the bank vault and it's the Henry Cavill Man of Steel suit.
Yeah, I like that. The Omega beams, and it sends him right into the giant safe, and it's Henry Cavill.
And it says 75 years, and it's great. The only thing I can say about this cartoon is, as many times as I've watched it, is there's really no allusion to Lois and Clark, no nod to the TV shows of Superboy, and I kind of would have liked something better than a tower that says Smallville. Like maybe somehow like Clark on the Scarecrow, or him running or something, and that's all. If I have to have a complaint, that's all I'm going to throw out there. But everything else is very well represented and shown. I mean, I could watch.
Yeah, they go very.
Over.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a number of times. They go through so many decades. I mean, it's not every piece of medium that Superman's ever been in, but, they start in 1938 and they go to the 40s and the 50s. I mean, they hit the 60s, the 70s, all the way up through the 2000s animated series and the Man of Steel. I mean, it's a very, very packed 2 minutes worth of 75 years of history.
And I mean, it's amazing. I've watched it multiple times, but I could still, watch it again and again and again and again. And it never gets old. Like, I really enjoy it every time. And it just, I think what's interesting in it, recently, to all the listeners out there, James watched the documentary, which we're going to cover later on. Look Up in the Sky, the history of Superman, which covers the origin and all Superman information from its creation up until Superman Returns. Because it came out during Superman Returns, and I kind of wish they'd make a companion and kind of fill in the gap since then. And side note, why have they never made a Batman documentary like this? Because it would be epic. But one thing the documentary does not cover is it doesn't mention when Superman lost his power and went pure energy, and then later was split into the red Superman, blue Superman of energy. But this cartoon makes a beautiful, quick, shot of it. It's the black suit Superman ripping himself, and when he rips, you see the red and the blue energy Supermans fly out. So I thought that was neat, that was, represented. But I mean,
yeah, that's pretty widely forgotten. Honestly, that was that time when he was red and blue Superman, when he was the energy Superman. I mean, I don't remember a whole lot of it, but when I was a kid, I was really young when that happened, and actually some of the first comics I ever picked up was red and blue Superman, and I just thought that looked amazing, as a kid.
I have an Action Comics, or is it a Super? I can't remember. I have it. That is it's like him telling his story, and it kind of sums up all of Superman comics up until when he became pure energy and what that meant. I had that one, and then my brother and I bought the first issue of the Red Blue Superman, where it was in 3D. And I think this was all around 97, 98, because I remember in the newspaper there being a little article about Superman's powers changing and how big of a deal it was. I mean, that's how important Superman is.
Well, I think that they haven't like completely forgot it either, because in the rebirth of Lois and Lana were both were blue and red energy.
Yeah.
That had something to do with the Superman Reborn as well.
And I mean, there's a Superman red and a Superman blue that goes back to the 50s, I think. There was something I put on the website about it. But yeah, they really used it as a point. Spoiler alert if you're not reading the comics. But basically, if you were reading the New 52, the entire New 52 Superman Adventures is basically Red Superman. Now, granted, does that mean he's a little less powerful? Maybe. And then the other Superman, the post-crisis that ended up on Earth through Convergence, who ends up on Earth, who's raising his son and eventually became the Rebirth Superman, is Superman Blue. And then in the Superman Reborn storyline, the two Supermans are combined, and when they're combined, it restores the timeline of DC and basically makes everything that happened before the New 52 and everything in the New 52, it all happened. I don't know the logistics of how that would work in someone's brain or the timeline, but that's why Superman's been such a key to the rebirth to New 52 and then into Doomsday Clock. Woo!
Yeah, I see here, I got something pulled up here about 1997 was the split of the electric blue and red Superman, but also it's 1963.
There we go.
Superman number 162, July 1963. The original Superman Red, Superman Blue tale.
See, look at this man. He's on it.
You gotta love Google, how fast you can find out some information.
Yeah, you're telling me. So, that's going to pretty much sum us up today. We had a couple other things I thought about going over, but they're just kind of talking, and we're gonna kick off here soon. We're gonna start talking about each episode a little thing towards the end of what the different types of kryptonite. I think it'd be fun each episode, instead of doing one episode dedicated to kryptonite in general. We're going to just do like a different color each episode. And since green is the most common, has the most history, it's definitely one that I think we're going to just hold off until the next episode, because we ended up being a lot more in this episode than I initially thought. So, yay us.
Yeah, well, some troubles pushed the episode off for a handful of days, so a few more topics to cover came up.
And that's all good, because we're in no rush. I mean, we don't have Supergirl right now, and Krypton hasn't started, so
which I am excited for. I see that Sci-Fi's got an app, and I'm pretty sure Sci-Fi is on Hulu as well. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to catch it one of those two ways, because I'm definitely going to watch it.
I don't want to resort to desperation.
Yeah, me either. If I have to, I will, but...
All right, James, anything else you want to say, my friend, before we have to part here?
No, sir. I think we've pretty much covered it today.
All right, this is where we must deconverge, as I return to Earth 1 and you must return to Earth 2 and protect our fellow people. So until next time, James, remember, look up in the sky. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal, log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.